The Abus Sledg 77 is the strongest disc lock you'll ever need, and at the end of this video I'll tell you why. Inside the packaging you'll find a carrying pouch, 2 keys, a reminder cable, a card containing the key code, and of course the lock itself. I went with high-vis yellow, but there are other colours available including black, red and, strangely, a slightly less high-vis yellow. I think the high-vis yellow offers the best deterrent, but be aware that the rubberized cover does pick up the dirt from around your wheels and brakes very easily, so you may prefer to go with black or red if that sort of attention to detail is important to you. You get 2 keys in the package, but owning several bikes I would have liked 3 or 4 like other lock manufacturers sometimes provide. However, the code card does mean that I can have other keys cut if I want. One key has an integrated LED light to help you find the keyhole on the lock more easily in the dark, although I doubt I'll ever need that, and so shall probably stick to the smaller key for greater convenience. This is a pretty substantial lock, and at over 800 grams is probably too heavy to carry in a jacket pocket. It will therefore need to be kept either in a top box, pannier or under the seat of your bike if you have room. The lock itself measures about 10 by 5 centimeters and is roughly 3.5 centimeters thick, though putting it in its pouch will of course make it larger. You'll need to take these dimensions into account if you have a sports bike and want to carry it under your seat, because space is usually the premium on this kind of bike. For example, on my 2017 Triumph Street Triple, the Sledg 77 on its own does fit snugly under the rear cowl, but if I put it in its pouch, it's too big. Abus does offer an optional mounting bracket, which seems like a good idea for some bikes, but I decided I didn't really need it. You also need to be aware that the locking pin is about 12mm in diameter, so you need a hole somewhere in your brake disc, at least 14-15mm or so, for the lock to be able to fit. As you can see, the lock fits the front disc of my 2019 Honda CB500X OK, but I can't use it on the rear disc, which is usually a better place to put a disc lock because removing the rear wheel is more awkward than the front. Nor can I use this lock on my 2018 Honda Vision scooter. Just something you need to be aware of. Attaching the lock is very straightforward, although unlike other reviews I've seen, for me it's definitely a two-handed operation. That's not usually a problem of course, except when you're trying to hold a camera at the same time, but I don't really see how you could do it with just one hand. There's a sticker inside the locking mechanism that warns you against putting the lock onto the disc incorrectly. Apparently Abus recommends that the pin be on the inside of the disc. This doesn't fundamentally make installation any more difficult, and I can only assume it has something to do with making the lock more difficult to pick or cut through, although I can't really see how. The manufacturer does know more about illicit removal of these locks than I do, however, so I'll take them at their word. So at the beginning of this video I said this lock was the most secure disc lock you'll ever need. That's because if a would-be thief is armed with a cutting disc, they will be able to cut through your bike's brake disc itself and just remove the lock without cutting into it at all. This lock is a deterrent, and I think it's a good one. It looks, and almost certainly is, tougher than the smaller disc locks that use a small diameter pin to fit through the disc, and so will put a thief off attempting to steal the bike in the first place. And as I say, if they do have a cutting disc, they can just make 2 cuts into the brake disc anyway and remove any lock you've got on there. At around £80 or €90, the Abus Sledg 77 is a mid-range disc lock, but I think it's really all you need. It's very solid construction, big enough and bright enough to deter would-be thieves, and is easy to use. The only downsides I've found are the weight and the fact that this particular yellow colour does get grubby very easily. As always, thanks for watching.